Barbados is a very young island, being a mere 60,000 years since it took on the shape it is today. Its formation is also utterly unique. But in order to understand just how ancestral Barbados came about, we must go back in time a long, long way. It is well documented that 200 million years ago, there was but one landmass on planet Earth, which modern geologists name Pangaea. About 180 million years ago, Pangaea started to fragment, and separate plates, as they are called, drifted away to form the continents. In the main, if two plates met head-on, they crumbled and were pushed upward. Many of the world's great mountain ranges were formed in such a way. In the case of the two plates we are looking at, the Atlantic plate folded under the Caribbean plate, and there, 50 million years ago, 4 kilometers beneath the surface of the ocean, the stage was set for the formation of Barbados. The trough that formed as a result of this folding action began to fill with sediments washed up from the South American continent. Along with these sediments, the tropically warm ocean teemed with billions upon billions of microorganisms that had shells of hard silica and carbonate. As the organisms' short life cycle ended, the skeletons of these tiny plankton were continually added to the so-called South American sediments. From time to time, the flow of these sediments slowed and the layer of plankton skeletons would increase. Now we fast forward to about 15 to 10 million years ago. The silica and carbonates of the plankton skeletons have now hardened into masses of solid rock we know as chalk, and less commonly, radiolite. It could be said that these rocks are huge graveyards of microorganisms, and are therefore referred to as biogenic rocks. By about 10 million years ago, the two colliding plates had moved so much that the ocean floor itself began to buckle upwards, carrying the ridge of oceanic sediments closer and closer to the surface. This entire ridge emerged, and even today stretches from Puerto Rico in the north to Trinidad in the south. Finally, between 1 and 2 million years ago, a mere blink of an eye in geological terms, the seabed broke the surface at latitude 13 degrees north and 59 degrees west, and ancestral Barbados was born. It was, in fact, the area known today as the Scotland District. Before 800,000 years ago, coral reefs could not grow in the sea around ancestral Barbados. The conditions were not right. They needed clear, nutrient-rich water, which did not exist at that time. But then, over a period of about 200,000 years, conditions for reef formation became ideal. Prolific coral growth took place in the relatively shallow waters that surrounded ancestral Barbados. At around 500,000 years ago, a massive tectonic push lifted the entire island along with the submerged coral reef terrace. The result was that this terrace was now entirely above sea level and became the first and upper coral terrace. Another outcome of this tectonic uplift was that an abundant fresh coral growth began in the new shallow waters created around the west and south coasts. At about the same time, erosion started to take place on the east coast, exposing the intriguing folds of the oceanic sediments that remain to this day. The sheer rock face of Hackleton's Cliff was also formed during this period. Further geological developments were that the heavy tropical rains started to carve gullies and erode subterranean caves. The final period of the evolving Barbados was from about 120,000 years ago, with two more significant tectonic pushes taking place. The latter, a mere 60,000 years back in time. These major pushes resulted in the middle and lower coral terraces rising above sea level. Heavy rainfall continued to erode existing gullies and enlarge older caves. The same processes that created Harrison's Cave are evident in the sculpted formations found at Welchman Hall and Jack-in-the-Box gullies. Both of these beautiful gullies are very close to Harrison's Cave. The existence of the cave we call Harrison's had almost certainly been known by the Amerindian Indians, the island's early inhabitants, but it seems that one Richard Ligon, as far back as 1647, could have been the first European to know of the cave. Certainly, it was documented that a Dr. Pinker and party in 1796 truly put the cave on the map. The cave was later named after Thomas Harrison, who owned the land in the area at the time. However, many years would have passed until Barbadian Tony Mason, who already had detailed knowledge of the cave, teamed up with Danish speleologist Ole Sorensen, and together they rediscovered the cave in 1970, generating great interest in this natural wonder. In 1974, the Barbados National Trust commissioned Sorensen to conduct a full survey in order to develop the cave as a local and tourist attraction. The cave was subsequently opened to the public in 1981. The original natural entrance that Sorensen used is still navigable and is now the focus of a unique wild caving tour for small groups. Over the past few years, the Harrison's Cave experience has been altered dramatically, with many innovative and exciting changes being made.
Now, Harrison's Cave was first discovered way back in 1970 by Mr. Ole Sorensen. He was all the way from Denmark. Our own local Asian guy called Anthony Mason. It took 5 years to do all the work inside, and it was officially opened to the public on November 28, 1981. The temperature inside the cave stabilizes at 78 degrees Fahrenheit. That's around 26 degrees Celsius, and the ventilation is all natural. So get your cameras all ready. We're now approaching our first point of interest, the Great Hall, and this is quite a spectacular view. Like so raw. So here in Barbados, you don't need no more water. Our walk is really good. You can reach straight to the tap. All right? This cluster of these many formations, we call this here in the village. We say groups like groups of families all standing together in the village. got excited because they think anytime this happens, it means the path ahead is going to change. So they were looking forward to what changes awaiting them. Now in the sea, we have some small stalactite formations we call these solar straws. These are hollow inside and the water drips right through. Some of these are so fragile they will just crumble between your fingers. Now here when the light is flashing where my finger is pointing, can you see what looks like a bird in the nest? Anyone see it right there? Looks like a pigeon in the nest, right on that ledge. So all along the canton, and this is what they happened upon. I think when they got here, it would have been wow. When they saw the mass of this chamber, because right now we're on the lower level of the Great Hall, one of the largest rooms inside the cave. We're also 120 feet below the surface. Now this Great Hall is said by some to resemble a great cathedral. And if you use your imagination a bit, you can picture up there being the reverend, the congregation all around, the pipe organ up there in the background. All that listed as the music. We're going to start singing. Because once you can play down here and they began to sing. Now when they do this down here, it sounded so fine. Anybody have a birthday today? Anyone celebrate a birthday? Okay, so all the now we're going to call like Tony older days, not having to be creeping and crawling because they had this vast chamber that they could have walked right through. Not knowing that they were now making their way to a tiny tunnel we call the snake. Some people say it reminds them of winter time.